Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to do another 5 boxes from the Mega Singles collection. This is an unbelievable punk, new wave, picture sleeve collection that I purchased from a lifelong collector. It was 175-ish boxes, all pretty much mint, unplayed. I purchased this about over a year ago now. I'm still trying to make my way through it. What you see coming up is the exact way that I found them for the most part. I have not to this day gone through all of these boxes. But any of the stuff that I still have available is on our Discogs page. I don't sell it in the store. I don't sell it any other way. Check our Discogs link below. All right, today we're going to go over box 49, box F43, box M, and box 72. Guys, this is exactly how these boxes came. I have not gone through any of these boxes. Actually, I did go through one baggie at the very last box. I'll show you that, and I'll show you why. But then I just put them back in, and then I left them alone. But box 49, this is going to be from his better stuff. As a whole, this earlier box featured some of the older, more desirable, more expensive singles. Let's see what that is. Actually, that's a t-shirt insert. All right, so nice all UK stuff. What do we got there? Whitehead. Not sure what that is. About 95% of this collection was picture sleeves. Yeah, not even 95%. I want to say out of the 40 boxes I've gone through, I've seen two or three titles that didn't come with a picture sleeve. But for the most part, it is a primary picture sleeve collection, punk, new wave. I mean, just everything. This guy traveled around the entire country buying singles throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, he didn't stop until 2012, 2013. We've got piles of Red Lorry. Now, I actually haven't put any of these up online in quite some time. It has been a long time, maybe months, since I've actually loaded any of these onto Discogs. These guys, I've talked about this in videos past. These are being sold exclusively on our Discogs page. You know, we're not really, we sell singles in the store, but I don't really sell anything of, you know, higher dollar. That's kind of nice. Early Red Hot Chili Pepper singles. There was a long point, you know, there was maybe 4 years in the store where I had all kinds of just high dollar 45s behind the register, you know, $1,000 Northern Soul singles, and they sat there for years and years and years, and just nobody touched them. You know, the only people coming into a record store, it seems, buying Northern Soul, they're looking for, you know, you to put that multi-thousand dollar record in the dollar box, and, you know, then pick it up for nothing. Which, that is typically not me. I make mistakes, but I don't typically make that much of a mistake. I make sure I'm putting out, you know, records for what they're worth. And if I'm not sure of something, I don't actually put it out. This actually looks like a really good box, man. There's so much of this squirrely looking private press stuff in this box. I've got high hopes for this. Like private press, handmade stuff. By Red, that's more than likely an artist-made sleeve. Spray painted red. Odds on Music. The Records. This guy was quite a completist. He really tried to, if he had, one record by the records, he really sought out every single thing he could find by the band. So there's not much in the way of, God, there's another one that looks good, huh? There's not much in the way of one record by a, by a band. It's pretty complete. In the first video I did, he had every Misfits record. Unfortunately, the Cough Cold was a repress, French repress, bootleg. But everything else was, was there. I gotta say, in all, I have not been disappointed in the fact that I've not been able to get to this collection in some time. Because since I started going through this collection, just the dollar value is of, choice records have just gone absolutely crazy. I had some Blur singles, for instance, that I showed in some earlier videos that had the Banksy artwork on the front. And when I pulled them out, they were like $100. I had a Post-it note on them. The Post-it note was like $100 because that was kind of the going rate at the time. Cool. The randoms. That was the going rate at the time. And with this collection, anything that's over $100, I've attempted to put aside because, I'm going to do a massive video at the end kind of showcasing. God, look at that. All this. I had fun looking up the stuff in this box. I want to do a video at the end that was kind of showcasing all the high dollar records I found. So I've kind of just been taking the sub $100 records and putting them to the side, and all the premium stuff I was going to show at the end. Somebody made a comment on the video, maybe 6 months later, like, holy crap, those are the Banksy singles. Those are worth a fortune, something to that effect. And I'm thinking to myself, it's a fortune. So, of course, I go on Discogs and I look and they're like $700. I'm like, damn, I don't remember pulling any $700 single out. I got nervous. I'm like, holy cow, I hope I didn't make a mistake. And no, I looked them, went, found them. And it wasn't that I had made a mistake. It's that they were tagged at $100. But yeah, they weren't $100 anymore. Radio Free Europe. Let me see here, just doing a double check. Let's see, no first single in this bin. Maybe it's in here. The Residents. Maybe we'll find some big money Residents singles in here. And that is a negative. Wow, look at that. Nice early replacements. Mario Speedwagon, the big winner of this box, no doubt. But at the rate this had been going, where I hadn't touched any of these boxes for a year, I kind of thought to myself, like, man, I really I need to get going with this. I'm going to have this collection is going to take me a lifetime to get done. So I made an effort to speed it up. So here we are, and you'll notice today this is a long video, and that's because I am doing 5 boxes. All right, that was box number 49. All right, let's do box F. Now this is a box of newer stuff. So a lot of his newer boxes did not have, you know, they were just kind of stuffed in these boxes and they weren't wrapped in a larger LP sleeve. Looks like we're dealing with a lot of stuff here from the mid-90s. Now the thing is with these particular records is you'll find stuff from the mid-90s, but he was actively searching record stores, so he would be finding other holes in his collection. In one of these mid-90s boxes, I actually found you know, really nice records, early Residence records on Ralph. I found first Sex Pistols. But yeah, so far this song looks like 95, 96 era stuff. That Sepultura. Sheep on Drugs. A little bent sleeve. That is actually I'll bend a few more. That is not a very common sight for this particular collection. Kind of cool. Kind of nice little homage to that first Factory EP. Which I'm hoping to find in this particular collection. I have not, but who knows? Maybe. These boxes have had random little jewels in them, though, but they're not as exciting as, for instance, that last box we did. But, you know, actually, these boxes tend to be pretty good value-wise because a lot of the stuff that are in these boxes are those, you know, those 90s bands that the hits are really desirable. Oasis, you know, just 69. There's a lot of Oasis and Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters, and you know, when you're dealing with big hits from the 80s, it's like, God forbid, you know, you just, that's not what you want to see. Whoa. Oh, look at that, Elliott Smith. Of course, that had to be the record I manhandled, but it's fine. Sleeper. Slipstream. It's kind of cool. Smashing Pumpkins. Siamese Singles little box set. 4 singles in there. He must have not have thought much of what was in this box because they're not in any sleeves. And if you look at the way the rest of this collection was, everything was pretty much double sleeved. So guys, I'll give you a little sneak peek. The last box, box 72, is a Sub Pop box. Nice. Sparkle Horse. I believe it is the box that leaves off from, what did we get up to, like Sub Pop maybe 100 in the first box. That was the box that had the 2 Love Buzz singles in it. So you can imagine that is probably going to be a pretty solid box. It's cool, some Stereolab stuff. God, that's nice. Look at that, hand painted. Insert. Just stone roses. Suede. It looks like we're going to finish with some sugar singles. All right, that is the end of box F. Let's move to the next one. All right, box 43. This is going to be a nice box, more than likely, from the original collection. So it was about 150 boxes total. And the way I know it's from the original collection is because he had everything completely alphabetized from A to Z within those 40 boxes. But then he would continue to collect, and you know, they were the earlier stuff, a lot of 70s and 80s stuff. And he would continue to collect, but rather than adding that into his existing collection, he was starting to stuff stuff in later boxes. So by date, it kind of went A through Z, or excuse me, box like 1 through maybe, what was it, box 70-ish. Then it went into like, then he continued up to like box 150, but you could tell he went in like box 75, say, ooh, the rare item without a picture sleeve. That looks interesting. Could be good. 1 million fuzz tone guitars. So that box, you know, 75 through 150 was alphabetized again from A to Z. So that's how you can tell it's a, you know, you can tell it's a, and all the stuff that was in that batch was, you know, from later 80s to the early 90s. Pale head. Then he went like A to Z. He did like an A to Z box, and then he did some boxes just, he was putting stuff in like coffee bean boxes towards the end. So you'll find in like the later coffee bean boxes, you'll find more like Third Man stuff. Little of everything. Keep in mind, guys, Discogs, if you're interested in any of this stuff, if I have it for sale, it is going to be on Discogs. Unfortunately, that's got a little bit of a warp. So you can kind of see the size of this guy's collection, just considering this is only a small part of it. A lot of dupes in the collection. There's a double of that. But you know, we're just cracking through O's right now. I need variants. Look, different color chair. Our daughter's wedding. What do we got? 1, 2, 3 variants of that. That's a cool cover. I like watching these videos sometimes when later on when I'm listing these things on Discogs, and every now and then I know, like, you know, obviously Donny Osmond, that ain't worth anything, but every now and then I realize something, you know, that's probably worth a few bucks. But I always enjoy finding those $500 records in this collection and then going back and checking it out on video, thinking to myself, you know, I wonder what my reaction was when I found that particular record. And sometimes, you know, be a multi-$1,000 record that I'm just breezing through like I am now. Like, you know, it'd be like OMD, OMD, OMD. Negative Approach, or, you know, something high dollar. More than likely, he has a pretty full collection of OMD. It is looking like it was the case. I was actually never really a big fan of OMD. I saw them open, though, for the B-52 some years back. And I got to tell you, it was one of the coolest shows because it was a band that you could tell was truly loving the fact that they were still musicians. You know, they were getting paid to be musicians. And it was just infectious. They just loved every minute of it. It was like the equivalent of seeing, you know, a band today that had zero ego and didn't get full of themselves, but they were making it big, which isn't very common, actually. Most bands nowadays, if they make it big, their heads get big. But watching that OMD show, that was a band that, you know, had the hits, toured a couple singles of some doubles in these, had the hits, toured, and didn't matter. They loved it. And I mean, then the B-52s come on the stage, and it was like, oh man, you could just tell they were phoning it in. They just, Japanese. They were phoning it in. They were not thrilled to be there. You could, you know, because I was in the front row of that show. Oh yeah, so I'm in the front row, and I left. You know, we ran. It was Berlin, OMD, and the B-52s in that order. I left the store at 7 o'clock. I missed half of the more than half of the Berlin set. They did like 2 songs, and that was it. Then OMD came on the stage. You know, I was wearing a Black Sabbath shirt, and I'm a huge B-52s fan. Love the B-52s. So I'm sitting in the front row, right? And man, the singer, multiple times, like one time during the show, he's like, he said something to the effect of like, you know, are you in the right show? What's, you know, he's making a comment, or what did he say? He goes, is Master Reality your favorite album? Black Sabbath album? You know, he was just, you could tell he was perplexed. Like, why are you at an OMD shirt with this black, you know, big guy, Black Sabbath shirt on? Not looking like he needed to be at an OMD B-52s concert. But, you know, I got diverse musical taste, so I was there. But, postcard, orange juice. So I was there, and looks like a little, these could be good. These custom sleeve private press records. So he kind of, you know, had a little banter during the show, and I'm like, yeah, I like it. And during another song, you know, he sat down on the speaker in front of me, and he's said to me, you know, obviously to the whole audience, like, I don't think I've ever serenaded a man to this song before wearing a Black Sabbath shirt. All right, that was box 43. All right, down to the last two boxes. Let's check out box M. Box M is going to be, from the look of it, mostly new stuff. But it looks like there's some random stuff in there and sleeves. Actually, it looks like we Screaming Santas. I think we've got a Christmas box. That'd be kind of weird to separate your punk singles by holiday music, but maybe. Well, not all of them, but the heck is this? The Beach Boys on Sub Pop. Gotta be a boot. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, that sure does not look like a boot. I didn't know. So after the concert, I'm there with a guy that worked for me a while back, and he was a big autograph guy. He would hang out after the show, and he would try to get the band and, you know, sign some records. And normally it was always stuff that I could, you know, definitely leave. What do we got there? Sub Pop 171. But this time I'm like, I brought a few albums. It's like, let's, you know, I want to do the meet and I would have paid for the meet and greet inside. But a lot of doubles on these. Definitely the tail end of a Sub Pop box. And his Sub Pop stuff that was the thing he collected the most of. So every one of these has a double in it. You know, there's two. And it was a good time to just be hanging out there. You know, I had a couple albums. Arizona, you know, it was the right time of the year to where it was beautiful, 70 degrees, humidless weather, you know. Didn't mind standing out there. Everyone was just hanging out, having a good time. So the B-52s come out. And it was, you know, the girls in the band came out. They were nice. They took photos with people. They signed autographs. It was really cool. Very nice of them. But Fred was having no part of that. He got in the van and he was out of there. So the guys from OMD, you know, actually they came out ahead of time. It's kind of cool covers. They came out smoking a cigarette. You know, they're waiting. I think they're waiting for, you know, the bus to get ready to leave. They came out, hung out with us like for 45 minutes while we were there. You know, just we're chatting, and I mentioned, you know, he's like, oh, yeah, the guy with the Black Sabbath shirt. And it was just like they were just such cool guys, and I was such a big fan of it. It was, you know, they just sat there, and I don't smoke, but they just sat there, chatted with us, talked about touring, you know. Man, these are really cool covers. These are all like silk screen covers. But they just chatted, you know, and actually it was kind of funny too. And I don't think they were alluding to the B-52s, but they were kind of talking about how much they truly enjoyed what they were doing. And, you know, they were like, we don't need the money. You know, we don't need the money. We do this because we truly enjoy it and we like being on the stage together. And if we didn't truly enjoy this and didn't like being on the stage together, we wouldn't do it. And then I kind of thought to myself, I'm like thinking, you know, yeah, like the B-52s who spent the entire show phoning it in. Wasn't a bad show. I won't say it was a bad show. Like, I've seen some bad shows, but it just, you know, if they were a little bit more enthusiastic and they cared a little bit more to be there, it would have been a better show. Mandingo. This is kind of like a, it's kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge box. Kind of needed some space for some Sub Pop singles. A couple other collections in here, some holiday stuff. So it looks like, oh, look at there's Bill and Hillary. Shut up and do Nazi type things, jerk. I guess we've effed them all, honey. You don't see a lot of Bill and Hillary anti-sentiment on these, you know, on records in general. I don't think I've ever seen that before. A lot of Ronald Reagan hate. You got a lot of hate in the 80s. Might be the first time I've seen any hate towards Billary. Okay. That is the end of this box. Let's move on to the next one. All right, box 72. This is a Sub Pop box. Let's start off with this one that's protruding out. What do we got here? Hole. What is that? Sub Pop. So I'll kind of show you on some of these. Sub Pop 93. So he's really tried to be a completist when it came to this colored stuff. So what is that? Like a splatter brown. We've got a black and then two blacks in there. Kind of a, actually that was a brown marble, and these two are both gray marble. That's nice. Smashing Pumpkins. Band that I really truly need to see. Pink marble vinyl. 2 copies in pink marble vinyl. They're all back together. Unfortunately, she is, speaking of bands that fight, they're, her and Billy Corgan are kind of at each other's throats, I think. Not seeing eye to eye. Kind of move those here. What do we got here? Sonic Youth 2-pack. All black vinyl. So we're now in the Sub Pop 119. Multiple copies of Godflash, black vinyl, black vinyl, black vinyl, red vinyl, red vinyl, red vinyl. The Velvet Monkeys. got here? Sister Ray. This is looks like some stuff that yeah. So the reason I went through this particular box when I first got it is because when he originally told me he had 2 copies of Nirvana's Love Buzz, set those off to the side, I was attempting to verify it, and he kind of had everything like loosely put in notes. You know, Nirvana in box 72, and I went in there, and of course, you know, there was all, these were all the slivers. There was no Love Buzz. That was in another box. But let's see, what do we got there? It's like a translucent yellow. Clear. 2 copies in here. A couple copies of black. It's a nice color, kind of like a peach swirl action there. That is a pink. There was 3 copies. Yeah, 3 copies. On pink vinyl. Interesting. So this one's got like a slightly different sleeve. This is a high gloss. That's a more generic sleeve in there. Blue. Looks like we got two copies on blue vinyl. So I was looking for the Love Buzzes, but they weren't in this box. Some Dwarves records. Try not to get the YouTube censors. Oh, yeah, look at me go. Some Dwarves singles. If you're not familiar, that's Sub Pop 81. You can go look up the artwork. They all had the original, there's a button on there. It says, fuck you and get high. So, yeah. Looks like that was included with the single. Multiple copies of Unsane. You know, almost every one of these sleeves have 2, 3, 4 copies in them. So, there's definitely some Quan. Always an idea. Afghan Wigs. Black vinyl. Purple vinyl. I got red vinyl. A couple of red vinyl. Soundgarden. Black vinyl. Black vinyl. Marble vinyl. Ooh, more Nirvana. Let's see. Green. These are 2 copies on green vinyl. Mud Honey. That's a nice color, yellow. Both yellow vinyl. Yellow vinyl, yellow vinyl. And a couple of copies on black vinyl. Reverend Horton Heat. Cool, has postcard. And a couple more copies of Molly's Lips. These are, those 2 are on black vinyl. Those show limited edition of 7,500. And then I'm guessing within that batch, they did different colors, which were more limited. All right, Rollins Band. lot of these Sub Pop bands have kind of come and gone, but man, a lot of these guys are still kicking. But yeah, that is it for 5 boxes from the Mega Singles Collection. Check us out online, www.theingroove.com. And don't forget, all this stuff, if available, will be on our Discogs page. That is in the link. Until next time.